My name is Brett, and welcome to Beyond the Trails. In my last video, I covered how to plan for through hiking the Tecumseh Trail. We're taking 4 days to hike this trail, and in this video, we're going to discuss how to prepare for the journey ahead. I'm going to cover the gear I'll be bringing along and why. There are lots of schools of thought out there about gear, weight, and brands. These are my own personal opinions, which are always subject to change as I learn and I grow in my own journey. Let's get started. First, let's talk about the amount of weight we should carry. Unless you're an ultralight backpacker, a fully loaded pack should rarely exceed about 20% of your body weight. For me, since I weigh about 200 pounds, that means I should not carry more than 40 pounds. This guideline can vary depending on factors like trip duration, season and weather, or personal preference. This limitation will greatly influence what you should bring along. Knowing your base weight is an important data point for all backpackers to know. Your base weight is how much your loaded pack weighs, minus consumables such as food, water, and fuel. These things vary from trip to trip, and often decrease throughout your journey as you use them. For this journey, my base weight comes in at just over 26 pounds. In order to know and remember my base weight, I meticulously weigh every piece of gear that I plan on taking with me. I record these numbers in a spreadsheet for easy reference and calculation. I also include links to these items and their costs just to maintain more data. I can toggle a checkbox to either add an item or remove it from my base weight. I can do the same thing with the food I plan to carry. Once I add this, my total weight comes in just under 39 pounds. Still pretty comfortable for me. Let's begin with some essential and general items. The first and most important piece is the backpack itself. Find a good pack and have it adjusted to you at an outfitter like REI. It's very important to get a good quality pack that has all the features you need. For me, it's the Osprey Atmos AG65. The 65 stands for liters, the volume capacity of the pack. Anything more is just too big for me, and anything smaller has me strapping things to the outside of the pack. We're not going to cover how to pack a backpack here, but perhaps we can cover that in a future video. Next up is the water reservoir. This holds up to 3 liters of water and is integrated with the pack. Some people like these and some don't. Personally, I like having the ability to grab the straw off the strap while hiking without having to move anything around in my pack. They can present a bit of a challenge in colder weather, where the water in the straw can freeze, but if you keep hydrating along the way, this can be minimized. Trekking poles are often hotly debated. Even though I don't always use them, I like having them because they can come in handy for so many things. Mainly, they help balance the weight as you hike, particularly on steep inclines or declines. In addition, they can test out water-filled holes for depth, shoo away unwanted critters like snakes, knock spiderwebs out of your way, and can even be used for self-defense in an emergency. A first aid kit is a necessary item. You can go as small or big as you want. My kit doubles as a repair kit too. I keep some Advil, a leave, a small lighter, and a little Gorilla Tape in there just in case. A good knife is important to have. It serves as a tool and for self-defense if necessary. Folding or fixed blade, the choice is up to you. Fixed blades are often heavier, but usually a little more durable. There are lots of good brands out there, so try a few and stick with what you like. Ditty bags and dry bags are important for a few reasons. Ditty bags are good for organizing your gear, though they aren't necessarily waterproof. Dry bags are waterproof and also good for organizing. They can be a bit pricey though, so the good old Ziploc bags are a cheap alternative. I carry all 3. Things can get wet and miserable out there, and a nice pack towel is a little convenience I like to have. The one I have weighs only 3 ounces, so it adds little to my overall base weight and much to my peace of mind. I like to carry a 30-foot length of reflective 550 paracord with me. It has many uses, including repairs, tent line replacement, temporary lashings, and more. Biological functions don't stop when we're on the trail, so make sure to carry enough toiletries to get you to the end. I typically bring along a small bottle of hand sanitizer, half a roll of toilet paper with the core removed and flattened, and a small pack of sanitary wipes. Make sure to keep your toilet paper somewhere dry. There's little worse than a soggy roll of TP. Just because we're out in the wilderness doesn't mean we should stop taking care of our teeth. You can find a travel-sized hygiene kit at any supermarket. Also, the floss makes some nice emergency thread if it's needed. Carabiners are generally lightweight and durable. I always take a few small ones with me and strap them to my pack. They can come in handy in a variety of situations. Many thru hikers don't start fires every night, but when we need to, it's nice to have something handy. I keep a canister of storm-proof matches with a piece of cotton inside. For tinder, you can buy pre-made versions or simply use some cotton balls and a little Vaseline if you're trying to save some money. Remember also that I keep a small lighter in my first aid kit as a backup, which is also where I keep my fire kit. A lot of hikers don't carry a pack saw, but I like having one just in case. It also depends on the particular hike. If I know I won't need it, I won't take it, but if I'm uncertain, I will. This silky saw weighs only 5.3 ounces, so for me it's worth the wait. The other option would be for a hatchet, but they are typically much heavier. Having a trowel handy is useful when you need to dig cat holes. This ultralight titanium trowel can also be used as a tent stake if necessary, and its serrated edges can be used as a mini saw. Alright, let's get into some electronics. This is the modern age after all, and as someone who works in tech, I love my devices. Arguably one of the most important electronic devices you'll bring is your headlamp. You don't want to be out there in the dark with no way to see. They generally don't weigh too much, and there's a plethora of them to choose from. For me, it's the Black Diamond Spot 400. It has both a focused and wide beam, plus a red light for reading and pack rummaging at night without blinding everyone around you or using up your battery. I bring a camera along so that I can document my adventures and save on my phone's battery life. If you use your phone for taking pictures and videos, it will be drained in no time. With the camera, I can bring along extra batteries at almost no extra weight. My camera is an Olympus TG6 Tough. This thing is exactly what it claims to be, tough. It can take a beating and still work. It can also take pictures underwater and has all sorts of settings for advanced photography. I sometimes bring my Kindle along on thru hikes so that I'll have something to read at night while winding down. It can get boring out there, especially this time of year when the nights are so long. At only 11 ounces, my Kindle Oasis is a welcome companion on longer journeys. I use a Garmin Instinct 2 solar watch for many reasons. It's one of the best outdoors watches on the market. In addition to normal smartwatch functions, it can track your location via GPS, even allowing you to pin locations for later reference. It can also track your hike and coordinate with a map. It has a host of other functions too, including a compass. It can also be charge assisted via solar energy. It can have up to a 28-day life in the best of circumstances. Certainly nice to have along for the ride. With so many electronic devices, including my phone, bringing a power bank along is a no-brainer. This Anchor power bank can recharge my phone 4 times fully before being depleted. Definitely worth the wait. I go back and forth on the solar charger quite often. Whether or not I bring it depends a lot on the length and location of the hike, the weather conditions, and the season. It is a bit heavy, weighing in at over 1.5 pounds. Generally, I can use it to recharge my power bank during the day and use the bank to charge my devices at night. This particular solar charger is small and nice in that I can clip it to the back of my pack as I travel for the day and let it do its thing. The weather is likely to be a bit bleak on this hike, so I'll probably leave it behind this time. Next, let's talk about my sleep system. This is one of those things that will change depending upon season and climate. This trip will be a cold one, with potentially freezing temperatures, especially at night. First up is the sleeping bag. Each bag has a temperature rating, this one being 20 degrees Fahrenheit. What's important to remember is that this temperature is what is survivable, not comfortable. In order to boost this rating and make it more comfortable, you'll want to get a sleeping bag liner. These come in all shapes, sizes, and ratings. Find what works best for your needs and adopt it. When it's warmer outside, you can often get away with just sleeping in the liner itself. A useful tactic is to save weight or add comfort by sleeping on top of your sleeping bag. A sleeping pad is also a smart item to bring along. Lying on hard or rocky ground can be quite uncomfortable. There are loads of options here. I prefer this simple accordion style folding pad. There are some inflatable pads out there that are super comfortable, but they risk being punctured or burned, which can then leave you without a pad. A luxury worth the small weight for me is the pillow. This small inflatable pillow weighs only 3 ounces and takes up very little space. If it gets punctured or damaged, I can always use my extra clothing as a makeshift pillow instead. A good ultralight 3-season tent is something you'll want to spend a lot of time deciding on. They are not cheap, but well worth the investment. There are tons of brands and styles to choose from. For me, it's the Big Agnes Tiger Wall UL1. It's super spacious and lightweight for a solo tent, and it has lots of features that I appreciate. Most tent manufacturers will sell a footprint for their models separately. A footprint will add an extra layer of protection for the bottom of that expensive tent. Plus, as with my Big Agnes tent, I can use the footprint, poles, and rainfly to create a fast fly shelter if I'm only looking for some rain cover or shade. Next, let's look at some of the items we'll be using for cooking and eating. Having a lightweight, portable stove is a huge convenience on the trail. Campfires are not always possible or allowed, so having one of these in our pack is almost necessary. The stove easily screws onto a can of isopropyl fuel, which we also need to bring along. Bear canisters are handy contraptions that have become mandatory in some national parks. They store and protect your valuable food cache, making it impossible for critters to access it. You should store your food and other scented items in here, and keep it about 100 feet downwind from your camp when sleeping. Lastly, the canister can also make a nice camp stool if you want. Even though I'm using a water reservoir, I still bring a water bottle with me just to store extra water I might find along the way or to use at camp for cooking. Plus, if something were to happen to my reservoir, I now have a handy backup. A minimalist cook set is really all you need out there. This one is just perfect for a single person. It's lightweight and can be used as a cup in addition to cooking. It is sized just perfectly to store my stove, a canister of isopropyl, and my folding spoon, thus saving precious space in my pack. A mess kit or bowl is nice to have to eat your meals from. Having one with a sealable lid allows you to store some food for later. Just don't forget to keep it in your bear canister once you've used it with food. One of the most important pieces of gear you will own is your water filtration system. Again, there are lots of schools of thought on this, so do the research and stick with the option that works best for you. I prefer the Sawyer Squeeze because, among other things, I can fill up these reservoirs with untreated water and treat it as I need it, perhaps later at camp. It all stores nicely in this little bag that it comes with. Now let's talk a little bit about the clothing I will be taking along with me for this journey. It's going to be a little cold, so I definitely need to take along some base layers. These will keep me warm, and I can wear them underneath the other clothes that I have on at the same time. I'll be bringing along 2 pairs of pants. One I'll be wearing and one I'll be storing in case the other one gets wet or I need to sleep in something different for the night. I also need a belt. I'll be taking a couple of light hoodies with me, as mid-layers. One I'll be wearing and one I'll be storing, the same reason as the pants. It's always a good idea to bring along an extra pair of socks in case the first pair you're wearing get wet. I never go anywhere without my buff. I have several, and usually I take along at least one, if not 2. Cold weather demands that I bring along a beanie and a pair of gloves to protect me from the elements. There's a possibility that it could rain during this trip, so I will be bringing along a set of rain shells. With all the base and mid layers I'm wearing, a nice mid-weight jacket is really all I need for this trip. Of course, I'll be wearing my hiking boots and also bringing along a pair of sandals in case I need to cross any streams or to wear at camp at night. Lastly, let's talk about the food we'll be taking along with this. The bulk of these meals will be dehydrated packs that we can rehydrate and have warm meals for our camp. We're also bringing along some coffee and goo just to have some extra energy. Snacks are important to have to get you through those times between meals. And of course, we need some extras just to have a little bit of something special along the way. Thanks for following along. Hope this information was helpful. Stick around in our next video and John and I will be traveling the Tecumseh Trail and you can follow us along and see what's going on. I wish you all the very best until our trails cross again.